Hi students, we're going to continue looking at fractions, decimals, and percents, and today we're going to be looking at numbers that are in two different forms. So one of the numbers might be a fraction and the other number is a percent, and we're going to compare and order them. And in order for us to do that, we need all of the numbers to be in the same format. So meaning we either want them all to be fractions, or we want them all to be decimals, or we want them all to be percents. Now, fractions are a little harder to compare because we would need a common denominator. So I'm going to encourage you to make them all percentages. It's much easier to compare them if they're all percents. So we're going to look at our first two, and we're going to compare 1/4 to 40%. Now, I know a lot of us maybe already know that 1/4 is 25%. But for those of us that can't remember how to do that, to go from a fraction to a percent, we have two strategies. One strategy is long division. So the 1 would go inside our division and the 4 would go outside. We would add a decimal point, and then we would start doing long division. So 4 goes into 10 2 times, which is 8. We subtract and get 2 because we haven't gotten 0. We add another 0 and continue. 4 goes into 20 5 times, which is 20, and now we're done. So we would take our decimal, 0.25, and we would move it over 2 spaces to get 25%. So this is the same as 25%, which we know is less than 40%. Now, I said there was a second way to turn this into a percentage, and that's using ratios and proportions like we did in the last chapter. So we know that percents are out of 100, so we can make a proportion that says 1 out of 4 is equal to the percent out of 100. And then we would use cross products, so 4x equals 100, and we would divide by 4, and we would get x equals 25, and this number up here always represents a percentage, so that would be 25%. All right, let's try another one. So again, I want to make both numbers into percents. My second number is in decimal form. So in order to make the decimal into a percentage, I'm going to move the decimal point over 2 spaces because percents are out of 100, so moving it over 2 spaces is like multiplying it by 100. So this goes 1, 2. So this becomes 89.3%, which is greater than 50%. All right, let's look at a word problem. You, your sister, and a friend each take the same number of shots. You make 72% of your shots. Your sister makes 19 out of 25 of her shots. And your friend, I'm going to put the friend way over here, makes 0.67. So we want to know who made the fewest, so who has the smallest percentage. So for our friend, we are going to move the decimal 2 spaces, 67%. Now for the sister, we can either do long division or we can set up that proportion. I like to use the proportion, and we're looking for the percentage out of 100. So x over 100. So we have 25x equals 1900. We divide by 25, and when we divide by 25, we get 76%. So you actually have the highest percentage of shots made. Your friend is the one who made the fewest number of shots. So remember, when you're comparing decimals, fractions, and percents, you want to turn them all into percentages because percentages are very easy to compare.